Nomsa Dlamini had been saving for 14 months. 14 months of double shifts at the dry cleaning shop on Mapo-gu, 14 months of eating ramen 4 nights a week, 14 months of wiring money home to Johannesburg in amounts small enough that her mother wouldn't worry but large enough that the funeral home would eventually have enough. Her mother, Zodwa, had been diagnosed with stage 3 ovarian cancer in January of the previous year. The doctors in Soweto were honest people, they said prepare. So Nomsa prepared. She opened a separate account. She labeled it in her phone contacts the way her mother had taught her to label important things, plainly, without decoration. It said, Mama's Rest Fund. For 1,200,000 won. The equivalent of roughly 50,000 rand. Enough for a dignified burial. Enough for a proper tombstone. Enough for the catering at the after-tears, because Zodwa Dlamini had fed half her street for 30 years, and she would not leave this earth without people eating in her name. Nomsa knew the account number by heart. She checked it every Sunday morning, the way some people check their horoscopes. It made her feel like she was doing something. Like the distance between Seoul and Soweto was manageable. She did not know that Kang-min had memorized the account number too. Kang-min was the kind of man who was very good at explaining himself. That was the first thing Nomsa had noticed about him when they met at her co-worker Hyejin's birthday dinner 3 years ago. How smoothly he moved from mistake to explanation, how quickly remorse appeared on his face, how convincingly it disappeared once forgiven. She had thought it was charm. It took her 2 years to understand it was something else entirely. He was not a bad man in the way movies show bad men. He did not raise his hand. He did not disappear for weeks. He called. He cooked, sometimes. He said I love you with the kind of frequency that should have been a warning sign but wasn't, because Nomsa had grown up watching her father say it to her mother only twice, once at the wedding, once at the hospital, and she had decided early that she wanted a man who said it often. What Kang-min was, specifically, was someone who believed that comfort was owed to him, not earned. Owed. He had grown up the second son of a mid-level Busan construction family, which meant he had watched money exist without ever having to touch it directly. When his father's company collapsed in 2019, Kang-min moved to Seoul and built a personality around the ghost of that former life. He wore brands he couldn't afford. He knew which restaurants had waiting lists. He spoke about investment the way men who have never invested speak about it, with great confidence and no specifics. He loved Nomsa genuinely. She believed that even later. But he loved his image more. And when those two things came into conflict, she was always the thing that moved. Before we go further, if this story is already hitting something real in you, if you've ever trusted someone with something sacred and watched them treat it like a transaction, drop a comment right now. Tell us what made you stay. Tell us what finally made you leave. Subscribe if you're new, because the stories we tell here are not just entertainment. They are mirrors. And some of you need to see yourselves clearly tonight. It happened on a Thursday. Nomsa was at work, feeding garments through the press, when her phone buzzed. It was a bank notification. Not the notification she expected, not the auto debit for her monthly subscription or the charge from the grocery app. This was a debit alert. A large one. 3,800,000 won. She read it 3 times. She thought it was a mistake. She thought someone had hacked the account, which was almost a relief because that would mean it was random. That would mean it wasn't someone who knew her. She stepped outside the shop into the cold Mapo air and called the bank. The representative was polite and thorough. The transfer had been authorized. It had been made from a registered device. It had gone to a personal account registered under the name O. Kang-min. Nomsa stood on the pavement for 4 minutes, without moving. A delivery scooter swerved around her. A child walked past eating fish cake on a stick. The city continued in every direction. She called Kang-min. He picked up on the second ring, which meant he'd been waiting for it. Jai before you. 3,800,000 won, Kang-min. A pause. I was going to tell you. My mother's money. I know, and I'm sorry, it was a one-time thing. I'm going to put it back. By Monday, I swear, because the investment. What investment? Another pause. Longer this time. This was the pause where the explanation was being selected. She knew this pause now. There's a table at Club Noir this Saturday. Seo Jun's client is coming in from Dubai, and if I'm at that table, if I'm seen at that table. Nomsa hung up. She went back inside. She finished her shift. She pressed 16 suits, 3 wedding dresses, and a child's school uniform. She did not cry until she was on the subway, and even then it was quiet, the kind of crying that doesn't move your face, that only leaks from the corners of your eyes, that no one around you notices because everyone on the Seoul subway is already somewhere else in their mind. When she got home, Kang-min was sitting on the couch with food he had ordered, her favorite, Mapo-gu, arranged on the table like a peace offering. He looked up at her with the face. The remorse face. The one that had worked before. "I'm going to explain everything," he said. "How did you get the account number?" she said. He looked at the food. "Your phone. A few months ago. I was looking for the Kakao app and I saw the savings account, and I didn't think I would ever actually. But you did. I did. And I'm sorry. But listen. Kang-min." Her voice was very level. "My mother is dying." The room went very quiet. "I know. That money is for her burial. Not for," she stopped. She couldn't even say it. "A club table." She could not say the words club table in the same sentence as her mother's name. "I'm going to replace it," he said. "The event is Saturday. By Monday morning. And if it doesn't work?" He didn't answer that. "Get out," she said. "Nomsa. Get out of my apartment. Tonight." He left. He took the Mapo-gu with him, which was such a perfectly Kang-min thing to do that she actually laughed, a short, ugly laugh, after the door closed. She called her friend Chinyu first. Chinyu was Nigerian, had been in Seoul for 6 years, and had a voice like a church organ and zero patience for mediocrity. Chinyu said, I told you in 2022, I said that man treats money like it's a renewable resource, and I told you." "I know you did. What's the plan?" "I don't know yet. Do you want him gone, or do you want the money back?" Nomsa thought about it. "Both." "Then we need to be smart," Chinyu said. "Because if you just call the police, he'll say it was a joint thing, he'll say you gave him permission, and you'll spend 6 months proving it wasn't. The legal system here is not set up for women who look like us to win fast." She wasn't wrong. Nomsa knew she wasn't wrong. "There's a shop," Chinyu said after a moment, "on the edge of Mapo. The owner is a man named Mr. Park. Old man, very quiet, runs a secondhand goods place. But before that," Chinyu paused for emphasis, "he was someone else entirely." "What does that mean?" "It means that Kang-min withdrew the money to a personal account. That money is in Seoul. And Mr. Park knows every significant financial movement in 3 districts. He's helped people before. Quietly." "Chinyu, I'm not asking a criminal." "I said retired," Chinyu said. "And I said helped. Are you listening or are you reacting?" Nomsa was quiet. "Good," Chinyu said. "I'll take you Saturday morning." By Saturday, Kang-min had sent 11 texts. They ranged from apologetic to logical to, near the end, mildly accusatory, a sentence that said you never really believed in me that Nomsa read twice and then archived. He was at Club Noir by 9 p.m., she knew, because Seo Jun had posted a story on Instagram showing the table, the bottles, the neon light, and in the background, slightly out of focus but unmistakably him, Kang-min, standing with his hand around a glass like a man who had nothing to answer for. She screenshot it without thinking. She didn't know why yet. She just knew it mattered. Saturday morning, Chinyu drove her to the shop. It didn't look like anything. That was the point, probably. A narrow frontage on a street that was mostly closed on weekends, a hand-painted sign that said Parks Goods and Trade, iron bars on the window, boxes of old electronics visible through the glass. A strip of dried red pepper hung above the door the way her grandmother used to hang it in Soweto, to keep away things that shouldn't enter. Nomsa noticed that detail and felt, strangely, less afraid. The man inside was about 65. Small. Wore a cardigan the color of dark tea. He was sorting through a box of old mobile phones with the patience of someone who had no reason to hurry. He looked up when they came in, and his eyes did something that most people's eyes don't do. They assessed without appearing to. In about 2 seconds, he had read the room completely. "Sit," he said in Korean. Then, looking at Nomsa, he switched to English. "You can sit down." Chinny stayed near the door. Nomsa sat on the wooden stool across the glass counter. "Who sent you?" he said. "A friend," Nomsa said. "I don't do favors for strangers," he said. "I do favors for people I understand. So tell me something true." She told him about her mother. She didn't plan to say as much as she did. She had intended to be brief, transactional, ask what he could do and leave. But something about the shop, the dried pepper, the patience of the man across from her, made her speak plainly. She told him about the 14 months, about the account, about the debit alert on Thursday, about Kang-min standing in that club right now on her mother's money. Mr. Park listened. He did not say anything sympathetic. He did not make sounds of consolation. He just listened, and when she finished, he looked at his hands. "What is the account the money went to?" he said. She showed him her phone. The transaction record. He looked at it for 3 seconds. "Oh, Kang-min," he said, reading the name. Something passed across his face. Not recognition exactly. More like a door closing quietly. "Go home," he said. "Don't contact him today. Don't call your bank. Go home, cook something, and be near your phone by 10 tonight." "What are you going to do?" Nomsa said. "I'm going to make a call," Mr. Park said. "That's all." "Who to?" He looked at her steadily. "You really want to know that?" She thought about it. "No," she said. "Good girl," he said, not unkindly. "Go home. This is the moment, if you haven't subscribed yet, where you need to. Because what happens next is exactly why this channel exists. Not for revenge fantasies. Not for drama. But for the truth about what happens when ordinary people, pushed past a certain line, find themselves in extraordinary situations they never asked for. Subscribe. Turn on the bell. Because if you leave now, you'll never know what Mr. Park said on that phone call. And I promise you, you want to know. Nomsa went home. She cooked jollof rice because her hands knew how to do it without her mind having to participate, and she needed her mind free to be afraid in peace. She called her sister in Johannesburg and asked about their mother without explaining anything, and her sister said Mama was having a decent day. She'd eaten half a bowl of samp. She'd been watching her shows. Nomsa said that was good. She said she'd send more soon. At 7 p.m., Kang-min called. She didn't answer. At 8:14 p.m., he called again. She let it ring out. At 9:07 p.m., she got a text from an unknown number. It said only, "The table booking at Club Noir was cancelled 30 minutes ago. Your friend's client from Dubai left early. Tell me if anything changes on your end." She stared at the text. She typed back, "Who is this?" The response came in 4 seconds. "Park." She put the phone down. She picked up a spoon and ate her jollof rice. The rice was good. She had learned to make it from Chinny's mother over a video call, and she had gotten the tomato ratio right finally, and in another life, on a different kind of Saturday night, she might have felt proud about that. At 9:48 p.m., Kang-min called again. This time she answered. He was loud. Background noise, voices, bass, the particular echo of a large indoor space. But different from the party noise she expected. More anxious. Doors opening and closing behind him. Nomsa. His voice was wrong. Too high. Something happened. Tell me. The Dubai thing fell through. Seo Jun's client just left. No reason. Just got up and then the club's finance manager came to the table and said there was a hold on the booking. Said someone had flagged the payment. I don't understand. I used a clean transfer. Kang-min, she said. And now Seo Jun is angry. He's saying I embarrassed him in front of Kang-min. He stopped. Where is the money? She said. A long pause. It's in my account. I haven't spent it yet. I was going to use it for the bottle spend and transfer it back, she said. Tonight. All of it. I will. There are some fees that came off when I transferred, so maybe like 40,000 less. Kang-min. Her voice had gone somewhere very flat and very far from begging. Transfer all of it back. The exact amount. Tonight. You figure out where the rest comes from. Do you understand me? Silence. Do you understand me? Yes, he said. very quietly. Good. She hung up. At 10:33 p.m., the bank notification came. 3,800,000 won, returned in full. She sat with that notification for a long time. Then she texted Mr. Park. It came back. He responded, good. Come by the shop Monday. We should talk. She almost didn't go. She told Chinyu about the Monday request, and Chinyu said she should go, that Mr. Park didn't invite people for nothing, and that in her experience, the people most worth listening to were the ones who said the least. So Monday afternoon, after her shift, Nomsa walked to the shop on the narrow street and pushed open the door. Mr. Park was behind the counter again. Different cardigan, same patience. He had tea waiting, 2 cups, barley tea, still steaming. Sit, he said. She sat. He pushed a cup toward her. He didn't say anything for a moment. He drank his tea. The man, he said finally. Oh, Kang-min. Do you know who his father is? Nomsa shook her head. Oh, Deoksu. Busan. Construction. He said it like it was a list. His company collapsed. When it collapsed, it took down 3 other businesses. One of them belonged to a very old friend of mine. He looked into his tea. Deoksu walked away clean. The friend did not. Nomsa said nothing. I'm not telling you this so you feel sorry for me, Mr. Park said. I'm telling you so you understand that when your friend brought you to my shop and you said the name, oh, I was already interested. Not because of you. Because of history. He paused. But then you spoke, and the history became secondary. Why? Because you were not dramatic about it, he said. You were not dramatic about your mother, or the money, or any of it. You just told the truth plainly. That is rare. He drank his tea. I respect that. What did you actually do? She said. On Saturday. The call. He was quiet for a moment. I know the owner of Club Noir, he said. We have an arrangement. I told him to pull the reservation. That's all. And the Dubai client leaving? A very small pause. Some people receive information, he said carefully, that changes their plans. You told the client something. I'm 65, Mr. Park said, almost pleasantly. I don't move as fast as I used to. She understood that he was not going to tell her everything. She also understood that she was sitting across from someone who had solved a problem that would have taken her months to solve alone, within hours, with a single phone call. That was worth something. Thank you, she said. Don't thank me yet, he said. I need something. Her stomach tightened. Of course. He read her expression and made a dismissive gesture. Not like that. Sit down. She hadn't stood up, but she felt seen. I need someone who works in dry cleaning, he said. I have some items. Old items. Suits, mostly. They need proper care. Professional handling. I'll pay. She blinked. You need laundry done. I need discretion, he said. The suits they have history. I don't want the regular places. She looked at him. He looked back. She understood that this was a transaction dressed simply, the way important things sometimes were. Bring them in on Wednesday, she said. He nodded. Wednesday. She did not take Kang-min back. She knew she wasn't going to before the money even returned. That particular decision had been made on the pavement outside work when the bank representative said authorized transfer, and her body understood something her mind was still processing. She texted him the following week, briefly. She said, I hope you learned something from this. I mean that sincerely. He replied with a paragraph she didn't read past the 3rd line. She archived it, the way she archived the other one. She was done reading his explanations. She told her mother nothing. Zadwa had enough. On a video call 2 weeks later, her mother was wrapped in a yellow blanket and wearing the reading glasses that slid down her nose, and she said, Nomi, you look tired. And Nomsa said, I've been working hard, Mama. And her mother said, don't let them work you too hard. You are not a machine. And Nomsa said, no, Mama. And it cost her everything to keep her face still. The money sat in the account. She opened it every Sunday morning. It still said Mama's Rest Fund. She did not change the name, though sometimes she thought about adding something, a second line, something that would be only for her to see, some acknowledgement that this thing she was maintaining had almost been taken. But she didn't. The name was enough. The name was her mother's name, and her mother did not need additions. Mr. Park's suits arrived on Wednesday as promised. 5 of them, each in a separate garment bag, each one a serious piece of tailoring. Italian wool, Japanese silk lining, the kind of construction that meant someone had once stood very still while a cutter moved around them with intention. She handled them carefully. She did not ask what the history was. She pressed them, cleaned them, returned them Thursday afternoon. He paid her 3 times the going rate. She protested. He said, "For the discretion." She took the money. It went into the account. One step closer. That might have been the end of it. A transaction completed. A disaster narrowly escaped. A lesson written in 4,000,001 almost lost. Nomsa was practical. She did not need stories to have clean endings. She had learned from her mother that most things don't end. They transform. The bill becomes manageable. The diagnosis becomes a new normal. The person who hurt you becomes someone you no longer check on. But on the 3rd Friday of that month, at 6:49 in the evening, she was locking up the dry cleaning shop alone when a car pulled to the curb. A black vehicle, nothing dramatic, the kind that blends. The window came down. A man she had never seen, late 40s, a face that was all right angles and patience, a suit that was not one of the 5 she'd pressed, looked at her. "Ms. Dlamini," he said, in English, with an accent she couldn't immediately place. "Lagos? Accra?" "Somewhere between the two." "Who's asking?" she said. "My employer would like to speak with you." He held out a card. Plain white. Just a name and number. She didn't take it immediately. "Which employer?" "Mr. Park sent you suits last week," the man said. "My employer sent those suits to Mr. Park. My employer would like to know the woman who handled them." Nomsa stood very still on the pavement. The city moved behind her the way it always did. "Your employer," she said slowly, "sent suits that Mr. Park held for how long exactly?" 12 years, the man said. She looked at the card in his hand. Clean. Expensive paper stock. The name on it was in both Korean and English. The English name was Solomon A. "Who is Solomon A?" she said. The man in the car smiled for the first time. "Someone who needs a person like you," he said. "Someone precise. Quiet. Who handles valuable things with care." He extended the card a little further. "He just wants to talk." Nomsa looked at the card. She looked at the car. She thought about her mother's account. She thought about Mr. Park's face when he said, "I don't move as fast as I used to." She thought about Kang-min's explanation face and how she had once believed it was the same thing as sincerity. She thought about 14 months of ramen and double shifts and a number she'd memorized like a prayer. And then, because she was Zadwa Dlamini's daughter, and Zadwa had always said that the only thing more dangerous than a closed door was one that opened without you understanding who turned the handle, she reached out and took the card. Not to call it. Not yet. Just to know that it existed. The car pulled away. She locked the shop. She walked to the subway. She held the card the whole way home, face down against her palm, the way you hold something you haven't decided about yet. In her bag, her phone buzzed. A Sunday morning habit arriving early. She glanced at it expecting the bank app. It wasn't the bank. It was her sister. A voice note, 11 seconds long. She pressed play with her thumb. Her sister's voice said, "Know me. Call me when you get this. Mama's doctor called this afternoon. They said it's time to start making the final arrangements." A breath. "Know me. It's time." Nomsa stopped walking. The subway entrance was 6 steps in front of her. The city kept going. In her right hand, her phone. In her left, a white card with a name she didn't know yet. And in an account she checked every Sunday morning exactly enough.